Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here, and I just wanted to address a video for my subscribers because a bunch of people asked that my friend Marc Lobliner put out yesterday, I believe. So I want to talk about that briefly for a few minutes. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Okay, Marc did an interview discussing optimal training frequency with a very well-known expert named David Sandler, and if you've been in this game for a while, you probably know who David Sandler is already. I'm going to link Marc's video here, and I'm going to link it down below. And people really wanted to know my opinion on this because I promote the full body, high frequency training, a full body 3 days a week for novice lifters. I absolutely promote that. I believe it is the fastest and most efficient way to get through your new gains as quickly as possible, to max them out so that you can move on to being an intermediate. And I've actually broken this down in videos of when to tell when it is time to start splitting yourself up into things like an upper-lower split or a push-pull split or more advanced splits if that's the route that you feel you need to go. I've done videos breaking down how to tell if you're at that point based upon things like your work capacity and your ability to have strength stamina, which means you're able to repeat a high level of performance for a high number of sets. And when you get to that point, you might start getting better gains if you break things up a little bit and sometimes drop frequency down to hitting a body part or a lift twice a week. And particularly when you start getting into certain types of nonlinear periodization, it can become really helpful to do that. But the novice, I would like to see them stay there. And I do know advanced guys who are brutally big and brutally strong who still do full body. I do know some guys who have legit 19-inch arms, 700-pound deadlifts and things who still train that way, and there were a lot of big, strong guys historically who did. So it comes down to, I think, what's going to work best for your goals and personal preference. But for more advanced lifters who have finished their new gains, I don't really have a problem with them splitting things up. I'm never going to be a fan of the once-a-week body part split type training for anybody who is not on huge amounts of drugs, but that's my personal take on it. But outside of that, I don't really disagree with anything said in the video. I think David Sandler did make a lot of good points as far as breaking things up as you get more advanced, and particularly for bodybuilding and even powerlifting, of breaking things up of either certain body parts or their function, and particularly more so for strength athletes, because I do mine based upon function. Like, I have all of my routines right now are set around doing certain basic of my 3 power lifts and accessory movements that bring function to that. But even what Marc was talking about when he's talking about overlap, when you get into things like PBL splits, which I tell guys if you're not advanced, don't do them. But for an advanced bodybuilder, I have no problem with a push-pull legs type setup. I think it can be very efficient for an advanced bodybuilder. And if you get the overlap correct, if you're careful in your lift selection, you will get that splash over effect due to muscles being used as antagonists or stabilizer muscles and everything. So you're going to be able to achieve that if the program is set up correctly. And so I don't have an issue with that. I'm more than happy to recommend that for an advanced, serious bodybuilder. And I think that's what Marc does a good portion of the year, is a push-pull legs type setup. So I don't necessarily disagree with anything in there. It's just that for the first 1 and maybe up to 2 years of someone's lifting career, I would like to see them on the full body. I think they're going to make better progress. The data supports it. The anecdotal evidence I've seen in the real world seems to support it, that they're going to get through their gains faster. They're going to exhaust their new gains quicker. They're going to make better progress if they go that route. Unless, and this goes back to a point Marc made and that I have previously made, unless they cannot stand the training style. Because no matter how efficient a training style is on paper, or the scientific data supporting it, or how well it works in 95% of the population, if you can't stand it and you hate it, you're not going to be motivated enough to give it your best. And so you're going to do better on something else, purely due to psychological and motivation reasons. Alright guys, so hopefully that clarified my stance on the topics there, and it also lets you guys know that I don't really disagree with what was said in this video by either David or Marc. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you next time.